Year after year, the Great Smoky Mountains National Park has been the most visited national park in the United States, and something that we take great pride in. And in fact, we don't take that responsibility very lightly at all. And in 2021, the Smokies experienced their busiest year on record with more than 14 million visits. That's 57% increase between 2011 and 2021. So a decade there, 57% increase, with last year's numbers exceeding the previous visitation record by 1.5 million, which was in 2019. And the great news about that this record visitation means many great things for us. For example, there's more people than ever not only come to experience the Smokies for the first time, but I would say that many of them are discovering their first love for nature as a result of coming to this park. And then the record visitation to the park also means that this park is that much more of an economic engine to our gateway communities, and our communities are thriving as a result of that. One of the things that we're proud of, Lexi, is that we say for every $1 of federal funding that's invested in the Smokies, $50 of that is returned to our local economy. So that's a pretty awesome investment paradigm there. And then the third one is that with this record of visitation, it ensures promise that the Smokies and the National Park Service overall will remain relevant to our next generation that we hope to use this park. As we enter into our second century of service here at the Smokies, Smokies will be 100 years old in 2034. So that's pretty comforting to know based on what these numbers indicate to us. Now, as you would imagine, with those type of visitation numbers comes our challenges. And while the number of visits have gone up significantly, unfortunately, the staff here and our operational budget have not gone up. And so when you talk about the wear and tear on our aging facilities and the strain on our park employees, this could possibly have an overall impact to our visitor experience. And the visitor experience to me is synonymous to the memories. And it's been traditionally the memories and the visitor experiences that have made people come back to the Smokies over and over again. So we want to make sure that that visitor experience is memorable in a positive way, that people keep coming back to their national park here. So we're basically at a crossroads of deciding how do we create an opportunity for the million of visitors to give back to a resource that has given us so much. And so what we talked about in our press release today is three proposals that we've gone out with that we feel provides us a sustainable funding source to do just that, to take care of our visitors and our infrastructure. One is we want to increase the fees at our front country sites, Cades Cove, Elk Mountain, places like that. And then we're going to raise the fees at our backcountry sites as well, which we have roughly about 100 of those in our backcountry. And then the third tier of this is what we're really excited about, is an initiative that we call Park It Forward. Park It Forward is an initiative that will, if the proposal passes, moves through, is that it will require our visitors to have a parking permit to park in the park, or parking tag, excuse me, the park in the park. And in the mental model that we use in explaining how this goes, like I said, it'd be no different than if you went to a college campus and you drove around just to tour to see the buildings and no need to park. You don't have to have a parking tag, right, to do that. But the moment you park your vehicle in a lot to go to a football game, or if you're a student going to the library, you're required to have a parking tag. That's pretty much the same concept that we have here at the Smokies. And I want to underscore that the parking will be for designated parking only. Another thing that we're going to be restricting or prohibiting is roadside parking. If you've been to the park and some of your most popular sites, you can see miles long of cars parking along the roadside. And we're going to prohibit that for three reasons. One is for protecting our resources. When you have cars and vehicles, heavy vehicles parked on the edge of roads like that, we tend to not let the road get their full shelf life just because of that kind of weight on the edge of a roadside there. 2 is for visitor safety. Again, you can imagine when people are hiking from their vehicle up to the trailhead because they're on the roadside there, that sometimes kids or people for that matter can pop out on the roadway, which causes or shows itself as a safety hazard. And then 3 is we feel that it's going to allow a much better driving experience, that you would have the whole entire lane to drive on rather than maybe 3/4, because some cars don't park all the way over. And so we think for those 3 reasons that it's probably best in the best interest of our visitors and our resources that we prohibit roadside parking. Now, on the parking tax, how much will it be is going to be the question. So we have 3 different tiers of the fees that we're proposing that be associated with the parking tax. For a daily pass, it would be $5 is what we're proposing. For up to 7 days, we're proposing $15. And then for an annual pass, it would be $40 for an annual pass, a parking tag to park here in the park. Just as a point of reference, if you go to any of the other national parks that have entrance fees, it costs you $35 for that visit, right? For several days, but we're going to be proposing $40 for an entire year. So the monies would be spent on several items. One, and I talked about it before, is our aging infrastructure, our facilities, are the facilities that you can see associated with our campgrounds or our backcountry sites, for instance, and then some of the infrastructure that you can't see. When you think about a park of this size, we have 26 wastewater systems here. Those wastewater systems need to work when people use restrooms in our campgrounds across the park here. Another way that the monies will be spent is to increase our law enforcement presence. People love to enjoy the park, but I think they expect to be safe as they enjoy it. So law enforcement presence would be key that we'll look at. And then our maintenance facility, people that pick up the trash. More people, unfortunately, sometimes leaves more trash. We want to keep this park in a way that we remain proud of its look and what people feel like when they come here. So more maintenance people. When you go use the restroom at one of our campgrounds here, you want to make sure that that restroom is in shape, that is in a way that we're proud of when you go use that facility. And so those are just a few examples of how we can apply those funding. And then just overall, you can have rangers at trailheads that talk about preventative search and rescue messages. Unfortunately, we have a lot of people that come to the Smokies that are not prepared. We'll have rangers at some of these key spots to talk about how to enjoy this park and how to enjoy it appropriately. So a few examples of how some of those finances would be spent.